Hey guys, this is Cam for 15 back at it yet again, joined by my uncle Darrell, and we are doing our NBA playoff prediction video because the playoffs are going to start tomorrow. Obviously, the Atlanta Hawks, they're going to move on to play the Miami Heat. Now, in terms of this recording right as I'm speaking, me and my uncle are literally just watching or observing the Clippers Pelicans game. Now, you know me, I'm a Clippers fan. Personally, if you ask me, I think we're losing tonight. But if the Clippers somehow win, well, then it's only delaying the inevitable because we're going to probably lose to the Suns in 5 or 6 games, barring.
Five or six.
Yeah, it's going to be a repeat of the last series. I don't think we're getting swept. I think we at least get one game. Nah, I don't think we're getting swept. I think we'll probably get that one game in Los Angeles, and that's it. But then again, you can make the fact that the Clippers should have won 3 of the games in Phoenix in the last series, or the first 2 in the last year. But whatever. Let's get it out the way. Pelicans versus Clippers. Game hasn't started. Paul George is out because, yeah, of course, Clipper curse just lives on, and of course, it just had to happen where, of course, he contracts COVID and he's actually tested positive for it. So he's gone for the game. Luka Kennard's out with his hamstring issue. And again, I attended the last Clipper game of the regular season. Why Ty Lue played Luka Kennard damn near almost 30 minutes? No idea. But that's the same question why I can ask Ty Lue, why'd you play Reggie Jackson in the Minnesota Timberwolves playing game? Look, you can say I'm giving up on my team. Personally, I don't think we're winning this game. I just don't see it now. The only chance I give us is if Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris play less than or around 25 minutes. Because
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, me personally, I say just the opposite. Reggie Jackson just needs to have one of those amazing games that we rarely see in a playoff game in order to beat this team. The Pelicans have been really good ever since acquiring CJ McCollum from Portland. They have been really balanced with their offense. They have really recovered from Zion Williamson's so-called injury and doing his YouTube dunk videos while injured. So I'll never understand that. So I like the Pelicans in this game too, but and even if Reggie Jackson does have an amazing game, I mean, he holds the ball absolutely too long, takes too much of the shot clock, takes away from everybody on the floor with him. He does a lot of that 1-on-4 stuff, and I think that's just not playoff basketball. I like the Pelicans to win this game too.
Yeah. I really think Ty Lue cost the Clippers a huge opportunity just to get it over with in the Minnesota Timberwolves game, just from his rotation decisions. Yep. Reggie Jackson, not really much Marcus Morris, but if Reggie Jackson eclipses 30 minutes, which I think he is with the absences of Paul George and Luke Kennard, I already said it's game match.
Yeah, he's gonna play. He's gonna play. Lou is gonna play him. I mean, he is really their only true gifted offensive threat. Whenever you do need a basket, Reggie Jackson can get you a basket. The issue for me is that he takes the ball and holds it entirely too long. It just takes away from the entire offense of the team. And they do move the ball a little bit better when he's out. The problem is there's just really not much left on that basketball team to generate consistent offense for the Clippers. And again, the Pelicans should take advantage of that.
Well, I would say the only other quality scorer on the team is probably Norman Powell. That's it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, can he get you the type of offense that they're going to need?
Yep.
To beat the Clippers.
Yeah.
To beat the Pelicans.
I wouldn't say not by himself, but I think he can drop at least a good 20, 25 points.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could, but then again, we also have to think about what they can do against the Pelicans defensively to stop a guy like Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. So, I mean, they are just the Pelicans offense is a little bit too balanced for me, whereas the Clippers offense is top heavy with one, maybe your second guy, Norman Powell, and both of them would have to eclipse 25 to 30 points, both of them, to win this game. And I just don't see the Clippers, with everything that they've gone through this year, come up with a W.
Yeah. So honestly, you could probably say Ty Lue costed them a playoff spot just because of his rotation, but we'll see how it is. The game tip-off is starting like right now. So you starting Eastern Conference or Western Conference?
Whichever you want to do is fine with me.
However,
I will tell you, I do, my middle school basketball team is really looking forward to these picks, and they want me to make sure that I give them a shout out. But I hope I do you all proud. Probably not, because you guys think you all know so much, especially Kapua.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I'm paying attention to the game right now. Pelicans missed their first shot right now. Anyways,
they're the Pelicans are gonna win. Do the video.
Okay. We're gonna start off with the Western Conference because it's so far it looks like the Eastern Conference is gonna be more interesting than the Western Conference this year.
Okay.
But obviously whoever plays the Suns, I think they're winning that series regardless. If it's the Pelicans, I think it's a sweep. If it's the Clippers, I got the Suns winning in 5 or 6 games. That's it.
Well, I mean, provided George.
They said
George will play.
They said on TNT.
The protocol. What's the minimum amount of days in the protocol?
He would have to, in order to potentially make game 1, he would have to test.
He'd have to test out
negative.
That's
twice.
Right. He would have to test out, and there is a waiting. What we do here is that you're out 10 days unless you test out after 5. So, but the NBA, on the other hand, is a little similar, whereas the player would have to test out twice. So he could test, he could test positive the first time, and then test negative the second time. It won't matter, but he would have to have 2 negative tests before returning. And by then, who knows, man?
Yeah.
Phoenix will probably have this series already won. Yeah. I mean, George could potentially come back and the team's down 2-0 coming to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely see what
they would have been anyway, coming to Los Angeles down 0-2 against Phoenix. Phoenix is just too good.
I think if Paul George was playing, they would have taken at least a game in Phoenix.
They can get a game. Without Paul George, currently constructed without Paul George. This team is getting swept against the Suns. The Suns have got bigger fish to fry, and I can't see them letting this team linger any longer.
Great. Reggie Jackson missed 1 shot already. Anyways,
moving
on.
Focus here, right here. Right.
Hey, I gotta pay attention. I gotta do double duty. Anyways, let's talk about the number 2 versus 7 matchup. Okay. And I think this is going to be the most interesting series out of some of the first round matchups, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
Now the Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe it was Patrick Beverley who said he wanted to get the Memphis Grizzlies in a playoff matchup and that they would win it. We'll see. But I think, honestly, the series might actually go 7 games, because I think these are both teams that are like they guard really good, and they just have defenders, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna see what happens. Anthony Edwards, he went off, and John Morant, he has the capabilities of going off, but mind you, he's still coming off his injury, so who's to know how healthy he truly is? Obviously, Cat, just what the Clippers did, maybe the Grizzlies can somewhat replicate that and just put a really solid defender on Cat and try to take him out of the game. I did think, the Clippers did a solid job at keeping him out of the game, and they already got them in foul trouble. And by the time, he got fouled out, they still found a way to win that game. Mind you, that's home. That was at home. This series will be starting off in Memphis, which is still a pretty tough place to play. I would know that because I'm a Clippers fan. We've had our battles with the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah. But honestly, I think this game can go the 7-game distance. But I think with the fact of that and the fact that Memphis has home court for the series, I'm gonna go with Memphis. I think Memphis is really coached well. I just feel like something, John Morant, he's gonna do something great, and his team around him. Because remind you, leading before John Morant came back, their team was like 26-2 without him.
Yeah, I think it was like 20. I want to say 20-3 is the number that pops out at me. But yeah, I like Memphis as well too. For me, I don't think there's any team in the league that's got a cat like Ja Morant. I mean, this kid is special. But the team as a whole is well coached and they're well motivated based on the record. I mean, what teams you normally go 20-3 without their best player? I think Toronto did it some years ago, the championship year without Kawhi. They went, I think like 18-2 or something like that without Kawhi. So this is similar to what was going on that year. I'm not saying Memphis is going to win a championship though this year, but as far as the first round goes, even though the Timberwolves split the season with them, I think they got 2 in Memphis and 2 in Minnesota. And the Timberwolves have got a lot of young talent. And they've got some veterans mixed up in there to make sure that young talent stays focused. But I think all in all, man, not very many teams have what the Grizzlies have, starting with Ja Morant. So I do like this series to go long. I do think it's going to be a 7-game series because I don't think Minnesota is going to lie down to Memphis. Anthony Edwards is a really good, hungry player. But in the end, nobody has Ja. Nobody in the league has John. I do like Memphis to win in 7.
Yeah. I'm going with that prediction. So yeah. Quick update, 12-10 Pelicans. Going on to the next series. We're gonna go Denver versus the Golden State Warriors. In a very interesting matchup. Steph Curry is going to be coming back. So
they confirmed that. Did they confirm that though?
I think they did. I think that
for game 1.
Yeah,
because I know there was a report that they were saying that he was, questionable for game 1. So
I think they said he's scheduled to come back.
We'll okay. Yeah,
we'll see. It's gonna be very interesting to see because I think out of all the matchups Golden State matched up with, they didn't match up particularly well with Denver. And I think this was the one team Warrior fans were saying, I don't want to see in the playoffs. And personally, I think the series could go, it has a potential to go 7 games, but I think it might go Denver and I'm going Denver in 6. I think personally, unless Jokic just for some reason isn't efficient enough, I just feel like Denver, they're well coached by Mike Malone. And I think they have just the one answer. I know the Warriors have Steph Curry and all, but he's coming off injury again. And then who's to know how Klay Thompson plays? Because sometimes in this season, he was always hot, then he was cold, and then hot again, and then cold. To the fact you got even some Warriors fans saying, just start Jordan Poole and make Klay Thompson come off the bench. Yeah. And then, I think the Warriors will do the best they can to limit what Jokic can do. But I think when Jokic is in that state, he just takes over. It's just, he can't do nothing about it. And I think the Nuggets have obviously really quality, players behind them. They got Aaron Gordon, who's another quality power forward right there. That Bones Highland kid who's been really good as of late. He's been killing it. He could be an X factor in this series.
Correct.
I think him or Jordan Poole could be an X factor in how the series turns out. But personally, if you ask me, I think Denver, just because they have a better matchup advantage against them, especially at the center position, I think with Jokic, I think they have the edge. So I'm going to go with Denver.
Okay. Me personally, the Warriors, and I'm a huge Warriors fan. I mean, Steph Curry for me is, my favorite player in the league. So, but the problem that I have with the Warriors is team chemistry. Thompson's missing time, Draymond Green missing time, Curry's missing time, Jonathan Kuminga, he's been in and out. And for me, Jonathan Kuminga is the X factor as far far as whether they can, defend and be versatile enough to defend Denver. So my problem with them is team chemistry. Once Curry comes back, I don't know how many, I can't recall how many games they've actually Green, Curry, and Thompson have all played together, but it's not many. So with all of that, the biggest problem that I'm gonna have is chemistry. And in a 7-game series, you got to have that more so than anything. Basketball knowledge, can probably bring that along a little quickly. But when you're going up against a team like Denver, man, you don't have a lot of time to sit up here and try to gather the team chemistry needed to win 4 of 7 games. So, but that being said, I think they still got enough to extend this 7 games, take this home and defeat the Denver Nuggets. So, game 1 may go to the Nuggets, but I think overall in the long term of the series, they'll work out those kinks and those issues and be able to move on to the second round. I like the Warriors in 7.
Okay. Moving on to the next series. Again, another interesting series just from the standpoint how this whole injury factor is going to happen, and that's going to be the Dallas Mavericks not playing the Clippers in the first round this year.
Yeah.
Versus the Utah Jazz. Now, it's already confirmed that Luka Doncic, he's going to be out for game 1. So there's no excuse that the Jazz should not take game 1 in Dallas.
Well, keep in mind, they're also talking about him missing game 2 as well. So I don't know whether this is a, calf, like similar to what they were talking about with Kevin Durant, a few years ago. It could just be a regular calf strain.
Yeah.
But, when you're a perimeter player and the worst thing that any perimeter player can have is a leg injury, so we'll see. But I don't like the Jazz at all, man. They play too much ISO ball. They don't pass the ball enough. Jordan Clarkson is just so frustrating to watch because once he touches the ball, that's it. That shot is going up. And he played efficient last year. Well, I shouldn't say efficient. To me, he was, I don't want to sound like I'm hating, but to me, he was just lucky last year. But this year, teams are really defending for him to not pass the ball, and he plays right into that. So him and Donovan Mitchell, they hold the ball a little bit too long for me. They don't pass the ball enough. And over the course of a 7-game series, you kind of wonder how that's going to play out. If Luka plays, yeah, man, Mavericks. Luka don't play. The Jazz has got enough, even with their awful offense, to beat the Mavs. So my prediction is going to be really tricky, but it's all dependent on whether Luka plays or not.
Yeah. And it depends. Yeah. The calf issue, that's no joke because if you come back too early, you can end up messing up the calf, or maybe it can lead down to an Achilles injury. Who knows?
Correct. Any type of muscle injury, really, if you come back too quickly, you run the risk of damaging said muscle. So, but we don't know the extent of Luka's injury. I'll say this, and I'm gonna just leave it at this for me. If Luka plays, Mavericks win. If Luka does not play, Jazz wins.
Yeah. It's gonna be freaking interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, if honestly, it's kind of the whole Luka factor. I don't know if he can come back this series.
It depends on the severity of the injury. If it's just a simple strain, but if he just did it,
yeah, he did it he did the last game of the season.
Well, yeah, that's the point. And on top of that, the league was nice enough to go ahead and give him that technical back because he might have missed game 1 anyway because of the 16 technical. So, and then on top of it, they keep a rolling count of the technicals even throughout the playoffs. So eventually, if he didn't keep his cool, he would have missed the game anyway. But with the injury, you just never know. So, Luka plays, Mavs win.
Yeah.
Luka does not play, Jazz wins. To me, it's just that simple. Whether it be 4, 5, 6, 7. Dallas needs Luka.
I personally think even if he does come back, I think the Jazz can still somehow win just because of the standpoint, like how is he going to play? The Jazz can just have defenses, schemes where they just, I don't know, rough him up a bit and stuff like that,
Could
and
be,
just have a
could be,
whole
but
thing. And like I said, he could be playing. Maybe he's limping on the court. Because it's
maybe.
we'll see. Personally,
We'll see.
it's kind of a toss him up series. So I definitely agree. I think it depends on how if Luka comes back, how does he look when he comes back? Then if he
Correct.
looks like his old self, then Mavs should win this series. If not, if he does come back and he doesn't look and he's still just like hobbling around injured, then Jazz should win the series. If he doesn't play straight up, then the Jazz should win the series. And now if they lose the
Yeah,
series, they're blowing it all up. I personally
yeah.
think this is the year where if they don't make the Western Conference Finals this year, it's over. They're blowing it all up.
Well, I can tell you right now, they should just go ahead and blow it up. I mean, they really should. Either that or come up with some type of sound offensive system, whereas everybody can actually play a part in the offense. But this year just doesn't seem to be that way. So there's rumors about Gobert moving on, so whether it be by, well, I think it has to be by a trade because I think he's in the last year for a contract and he's a restricted free agent. So whoever wants him have to do a sign and trade. But again, it's just, the Jazz, man, you should that offense is just really frustrating to watch how the ball just never seems to move anywhere. It just stops. The second it comes across half court, it stays in the same spot. Just frustrating to watch. Too much ISO ball. Don't like it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much all the Western Conference playoffs. So we're gonna move over to the more exciting Eastern Conference team. So obviously let's talk Heat versus Hawks. I haven't caught many Heat game. I feel like they're the team that's like on and off for me. But the Hawks are coming in with some momentum. Now the Heat are a good playoff team. Eric Spoelstra is a good playoff coach. Again, I feel like this series could go 7 games. I personally, if you ask me, I think it could go 6 games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the Heat the edge in this, just from the standpoint, even though the Hawks do have the experience. I just think the Heat, they just can go off of whatever player just randomly goes off. It could be Bam Adebayo one night paired alongside maybe Tyler Hero, or Jimmy Butler could have a game where he goes off. Gabe Vincent, who's kind of, I think, solid for them. Duncan Robinson. They're pretty solid in terms of players knowing their role and what they do and what they don't best, and they're pretty good defensively as well. Do I think they'll shut down Trae Young completely? No. I think they'll slow him down the best they can, but I think in the end, I think the Heat just have more firepower than what the Atlanta Hawks do this year. And I think, the Hawks run will come to an end in the first round this year.
Okay. The one thing that really just drives me nuts about the Miami Heat is when you need a basket. When you need a basket, who are you going to go to? I mean, who really are you going to go to in the Heat? It's what pretty much derailed them when we had the bubble championship. Jimmy Butler had to do everything for that team. I mean, he literally had to have a triple-double to give Miami an opportunity to win a game. And the problem is still the same here. With Atlanta, we know if you need a bucket, then the ball is going to be in Trae Young's hands. And that experience last year has made them better this year. Are they good enough to beat the Heat in a 7-game series? I'll say no, but it more likely will be a game or two in which the Miami Heat has to get a bucket in order to win the game. My question is, as always, just who are you going to go to? I mean, who are you going to go to? You got to have a closer, and that's the one thing I feel Miami does not have. Now, they have enough to win the first game and the first series against Atlanta, and I'm predicting that Miami will beat them. But I predicted that Atlanta was going to lose in 2 series last year, and Atlanta proved me wrong. So Atlanta's playing really well as their game against the Cavaliers. They pretty much went, they pretty much went happy-go-lucky. And then next thing you know, the experience kicked in and they kind of settled Cleveland down. They'll do the same thing with Miami as well. So I do like Miami. I'll say 6 games. And but they got to have a closer. They got to close. They have to have a closer, a specified closer. I just don't think Miami have it, but they got enough to win this series.
Just an update. Brandon Ingram already has 14 points in the first quarter, and it's 24-17 Pelicans. So not shocked by that.
Case in point, just like what we were talking about with Miami. Pelicans got guys that can close a game. They got guys. Clippers got a guy. Miami ain't got nobody. Miami will win the series in 6, though.
Yeah. Next series is Boston versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if my co-host Matt Swarmstead was still here, he'd probably be proclaiming right now that the Nets would lose to the Celtics. I think this series can go 7 games, but I'm just gonna go with probably just the team that has one of the best players in the game, and that's the Nets. I will say the Boston Celtics, they have been on a roll as of late, but I think the reason, which is a huge game changer for this series, is the fact that Robin Williams is out. I don't know if he's out the entire season. From what my co-host Matt says, and we'll be on the channel tomorrow to discuss the first USFL game. What is it? He said he might come back maybe game 3 or 4. I don't know. So I can't really quote. I haven't seen anything to go with that. I think the Celtics do have a good chance if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown obviously go off. But the thing is, I just feel like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, when the time is called upon them, they'll find a way to win and pull through this series. Their last game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think, was a really good, complete game they had. And I'm just going to go with the freaking Nets in this, just from the standpoint. I just feel like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving just going to do their thing.
Yeah. Like Matt, I really do like the Boston Celtics too. Ever since I was a kid, behind the Chicago Bulls, my favorite team was the Boston Celtics. Ask your pops. He knew I was Larry Bird crazy, back in the 70s and 80s. So he'll tell you. Ime Udoka is one of the best defensive minds in the NBA, if not the best defensive mind in the NBA. He took that team and he made them a defensive stalwart in the NBA. Luckily for him, he also got 2 of the best, ISO players in the league as well, too. But the 2 best ISO players in the league is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, as shown by what they did against Cleveland. I mean, dude, man, both of them had double doubles. And they between the 2 of them, I think they had like 20 plus assists, 23 if I'm correct. So I'm like, but they do play a lot of isolation, and if they can defend Tatum and Brown really well, they should be able to win this series. More importantly, if, and I'll say this, and then I'll give my prediction on the series. If Ben Simmons plays and he is 100%, oh yeah, Nets winning this series.
Yeah.
Because they're going to put him on either Tatum or Brown, and he's going to take out one of them. So if he plays and he's hungry and he's 100%, I like the Nets. However, that said, you know what? I'm gonna go Nets with you too. Durant is really good, and Irvin has just been playing crazy good since they allowed him to, play home games at the Barclays Center. So I do like the Nets too. 7-game series. This one might be the best series of all. You said the Grizzlies and Timberwolves. I'm looking forward to this one. So I'll say Nets in 7.
Mm-hmm. And I think they did say Ben Simmons could return potentially as early as game 4.
Potentially.
So we'll see. We'll see that whole Ben Simmons thing. But
correct. It's gonna be. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a saga, but it's gonna be a subject of conversation about him, what he can do for the team, and not only his back injury, but his mental health. His mental health awareness as well too. I know that's an issue as well. So we'll see. But I still do like the Nets. Irvin and Durant are pretty much unguardable, man. It's just amazing how they work. And they do a lot of ISO, but when Irvin goes out of the game, you notice they'll move the ball a little bit better. And Durant is playing fantastic, well, moving the basketball, making sure everyone's involved. I do like the Nets.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the 3 versus 6 seed, and that's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe. No. Is that the Milwaukee Bucks? Okay, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls came back to the playoffs for the first time since when?
Since Rose left.
What year was that?
2011, 2012.
I don't remember on the last time. They've just been bad.
We got to Germany in 2012. So I think it's 2012 was the last, either 11, because that's when Miami was going on with their domination with LeBron James, that, from 2010 to I think 2014. So I want to say the last 2012, maybe 2013 was the last Bulls playoff series, because Rose went down in 11, I believe. So it might be 11.
But didn't they make the playoffs that one year when it was?
Oh no, you're right. That's right. They made the playoffs.
Rondo, Butler, and Wade.
Butler, right. They sure did. They made because they had a decent little series with Boston. So you're right. It was a little bit later than that. So it was, but
yeah,
this series
done. I think this is going to be probably the quickest series out of all the series.
As a Bulls fan, you don't want to say your team is going to get swept, but they're going to get swept. I'm sorry. There has been nothing that I have seen when they play the Milwaukee Bucks that tell me that they match up well enough to beat this team. Brook Lopez just had an amazing game when Nikola Vucevic couldn't do anything with him. They have no answer for Giannis. They're missing for me, the captain of their defense, Lonzo Ball. He won't be there. And their defense has been absolutely atrocious over the past month or so. So I don't see anything that tells me the Chicago Bulls are going to be able to win this series, let alone, I don't even think they're going to get one game.
Yeah.
So, because Milwaukee has been playing fantastic basketball. My MVP is Giannis Antetokounmpo. So regardless of what Jokic or Joel Embiid does, my MVP is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's the best player in the game. Milwaukee is playing some really good basketball. They've had some really great games against some really good teams over the past few weeks. Bulls and on top of that, Milwaukee has pretty much dominated the Chicago Bulls in their last 2 to 3 games anyway, in which Milwaukee, I think, won all 3 of them games by plus 20.
Yeah. So,
to me, the Bulls are getting swept.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing else I can say that you just highlighted.
Thank you for letting me ramble on about my team, though. I don't think it's gonna be too nice, but
yeah. If you ask me, I think the Bulls are a lot away from being a legit contender in the East, because all I know is they don't know about Vucevic and what he's gonna be doing.
They need a rim protector. They need a rim protector. They need one bad. They need someone that can defend the paint. They need a big man that can really superbly defend and rebound. Vucevic is good, but he just, as far as defending and rebound and protecting the rim and protecting the paint, that's not the kind of player he is. He's a finesse basketball player, very good basketball player, but unfortunately, he's not that, that Rudy Gobert type that can, make people pay for coming into the lane.
Yeah. So moving on to I believe this is the last series we're talking about, and that is the 76ers versus the Toronto Raptors. And let's just say we got actually a pretty good series. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm going with the upset. I think the Toronto Raptors are gonna beat the Philadelphia 76ers.
Is it because of James Harden?
I think it's a combination between James Harden and Doc Rivers.
Gotcha. Yeah. I forgot you're not a Doc Rivers fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like Toronto too. Nick Nurse is a really good coach, as evident of, again, when they won that championship, it's like I said, I want to say it was like 20-2. They played without Kawhi and still won a chip, man. So I like Toronto too. 7-game series. I'll say this. If it goes to Philadelphia for a game 7, Philadelphia will win this series. If it goes, if Toronto is up 3-1 and they're going to Toronto game 6, yeah, I don't like James Harden. I just don't really think he really truly cares about winning basketball. I just think he truly cares about James Harden. So I like Toronto as well. So I'll go with the upset too. And then after that, they blow Philadelphia up. It's just, they just blow it up.
Yeah. My only wish is Doc Rivers gets fired and he's the new Lakers head coach, because then, all I need to see with the Lakers is a 3-1.
Yeah, I don't want to see Nick Nurse go to.
I don't think he's going to leave. I don't think
Toronto.
I don't think he's going to leave Toronto.
I don't think he's going to leave either. And I know we're getting off on a different subject, and maybe this is a subject for another video. LeBron James throwing out Mark Jackson, which I think is the kiss of death for a coach. He did the same thing with Ty Lue. Hey, I think Ty Lue should be our coach, and then they wind up making him coach. And they got a chip out of it, but at the same time, though, it's it wasn't total kismet, if you know what I mean. So he can throw out all kinds of people he want to see coach all he want, but he's probably looking for someone that he can control. So no, man, and I don't think that's Nick Nurse. I honestly don't think it's Doc Rivers either.
We'll see. Yeah. The Lakers management, they'll do some of the most head scratching things, but I think
let them keep doing it.
Yeah,
and we'll laugh from afar. Yeah. Let them keep.
Yeah, I definitely do think, just for James Harden, this is his biggest playoff run in his entire career, like the most important one. And what I mean is he's got to get to the finals to prove his whole reason why he wanted to be traded to Philadelphia in the first place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he fails to even get anywhere, not a finals, then he's going to be labeled as a joke. He's going to be labeled as everything that people call him, and he won't be taken serious.
Well, for me, the main thing is I think he only wanted Philadelphia because Daryl Morey was there. Probably his biggest cheerleader. Daryl Morey had him in Houston, in which Daryl Morey, I think on more than one occasion, actually referred to him as the greatest offensive player to ever play the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. So Daryl Morey is obviously a fan of James Harden. The issue for me is, he can offense. He can score with the best of them, but the problem is that eventually Doc Rivers is going to have to hide him on defense, because he still brings that Olay regular season defense to a playoff game. And to me, that is just not a good mixture of basketball. Playoff basketball starts on the defensive end. And if you're not going to do it, you're going to chances are you're not going to win a series. And that's been the history with James Harden. He gives you something on offense, gives you nothing on defense, which winds up taking away from his offense. So,
Yep.
At least with Ben Simmons is elite defensively. He may not be elite offensively, but that's why playoff basketball is suited for him because he is elite defensively.
Yep. Well, that's kind of our predictions for the first round. So yeah, first round is going to start tomorrow. And again, another update for Clippers, Pelicans. Pelicans are up 39-24 with 9:41 left to go in the second quarter.
Don't worry about it. Stop. Just stop it.
I'm already subject to the fact that we're going to lose.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, and you're right, but you do have to watch to support your basketball team. I get all that, and it's still early. It's still early. Something could happen in which, the tide can shift a little bit, and Tyronn Lue, who is a good coach, you do seem to like Tyronn.
I like my thing with Ty Lue is I like him. I just don't like his rotation decisions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one really likes as a coach, you always get second guess for your rotation decisions. You really do. I mean, I don't think anyone honestly says, hey, you know what, we lost the game, but I really liked his rotation decisions throughout the entire loss. Yeah, I mean, people are going to say that all the time. You have your Monday morning quarterbacks. We do it too. So, just one of them things as coaches, we just have to get used to and move on and, coach your team. And it's a long game. So, and it's only down 15. So 15 points is nothing in the NBA game.
Yeah, we'll see. But other than that, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the NBA.
Hey, I'm sorry, real quick. You see this Batman fan behind me? Mm-hmm. Another really good friend of mine made this fan. So thanks, Angie B. Appreciate you.
We're gonna get out of here. Again, put in the comment section your thoughts on the playoff predictions and who do you think gonna win the series, as well as hit the subscribe button. Came for 15 Talk Sports. Again, tomorrow, look forward to the first USFL game recap with me and my co-host Matt Swarmstead, since it's finally spring football back again.
I changed my mind. Bulls are going to get one game.
But yeah, other than that, that's it. So anyways, we're going to catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, see you guys later. Peace.
Later.